On Netflix, 2022's Falling for Christmas was the streaming platform's most buzzworthy holiday release of the year, which became a full-blown trending topic in May when we found out it would star Lindsay Lohan, making a comeback with her first feature film role in over 3 years. Her PR team agreed this was a much easier story to spin than the previous time she trended on Twitter for making it seem like Russia had hacked her account in order to influence the election. Back in 2019, I don't even think Sugar Bear Hair had an interest in using Lindsay Lohan's influence on Twitter. Make no mistake, I am thrilled to see Hollywood legend Lindsay's career make its meteoric bob back to the surface, but it might be a little bit easier to celebrate if it were because of a movie that had a little more soul than the snowman-shaped peanut butter cup melting in my back pocket. Don't worry, it tastes much better than it looks, and that's the wish that I have for everybody's this holiday season. At least that's less generic than the Christmas wishes driving the plot in this movie, from its flat characters to its hodgepodge collage of holiday story elements to its cavalier treatment of brain bleeds and memory loss. It's time to follow Lindsay Lohan for a Christmas adventure, right over the edge of a cliff and down the side of a mountain, where we will smash our faces into a hard oak tree of Yuletide joy. So grab some hot cocoa and splash it into the face of someone you love for an episode of amnesia that you will never forget in this Reason for the Season installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web, and we chop it up like wood that we're putting in an open fire so that we can look at each little twig and each little chunk and say, that's a Christmas miracle, or that's a corporate money-grabbing, Ebenezer Scrooging bad thing, lump of coal, let's say. Sweet Lord. And the Sweet Lord is exactly whom we celebrate on the Christmas Eve. But in this case, Santa is Jesus. You know, and sometimes it's not about Jesus, but more like Santa. Who's doing the miracles? That's all I want to know. Whose budget is this miracle juice coming out of? That's what we need to solve. But before we do, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more Netflix, Hallmark, and Lifetime Christmas movies broken down this season. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week-ish, so turn on notifications and you'll be notified every time-ish. Also, I've got merch like new enamel pins and a Patreon where you can watch bonus episodes and exclusive watch parties where we interact live. We now head over live to Park City, Utah, where this movie was filmed, and we meet Lindsay Lohan's character, Sierra Belmont, the heiress to a hotel owner who, like most of the pretty young women who star in these movies, wakes up like Sleeping Beauty. That'll tingle all your troubles away. Everybody's waiting for the man with the bang. Ah yes, it's Hollywood's favorite unrealistic beauty standard, the full hair and makeup wake up. Ladies, you can blame this movie trope if you've ever skipped wearing mascara one day and the men in your office were like, ugh, did you have COVID recently? No, Sean, believe it or not, this is a healthy human woman face. Sorry if it was gross of me to skip one step in my beauty routine. Meanwhile, you get to come to work all week smelling like dirty clothes. What a fun society to be a part of. Oh, and they got Lindsay Lohan wearing a sleep mask on top of it. Those lashes are gonna snap off faster than Frosty the Snowman's arms, which the townsfolk tried to cancel me for last year. Even though dismemberment seems like the only normal reaction when a snowman comes to life and starts moving towards you. Not hopping on a train and crossing state lines with it like those idiot children in the movie. As for the soundtrack, this is not my favorite holiday song ever, but I tend to automatically dislike anything that sounds like they would have chosen it for Darren Criss to sing on an episode of Glee. Like, we get it, Darren, even your voice sounds like it has a blazer on. However, I can appreciate how Everybody's Waiting for the Man with the Bag doubles as a fun song to play when your drug dealer was supposed to arrive 2 hours ago and isn't responding to any texts. Through an expositional phone call, Lindsay lets on that, Sierra divulges that she's been flown out out to this resort that her father owns in order to kind of have a soft interview for a new position as director of atmosphere. Basically a handout for nepotism babies. She's talking to her uppity influencer boyfriend.
What exactly is the position?
Vice President of Atmosphere. I think he just made it up to give me something to do. When people look at me, all they see is the spoiled daughter of Beauregard Belmont, the hotel magnate.
That's not true. All I see when I look at you is that makeup artist with the off-brand beauty blender barely even pretending to touch your face. She said, sorry, but these sponges are kind of expensive and lately your facial oils keep eating through the makeup tools like the blood of a xenomorph. Have you considered a breakfast with less toxic acidity than that caviar being kept fresh by clearly acrylic ice cubes? Those fake ice cubes are giving me heart pain on Christmas Day, heart pain on Christmas Day. The movie is not well written, or at least it could use a little bit of editing, because things are brought up that I don't understand, and if I did understand them, I don't like them.
How are your socials doing?
Not good. I told you my accounts were hacked by that girl.
I'm sorry, okay? But just like Putin, I did it for political reasons. I needed more retweets on my post about favorite pizza toppings for a chance to win free Domino's. This is such a specific reference for Sierra to make. I could have sworn that this obsessive stalker hacker character who ruined her social media would come back around later in the movie, but nope, nothing ever comes of it. Like, what girl hacked your social media? The exotic dancer and estranged twin who briefly took over your life while you were kidnapped and buried alive? Because I barely believed that excuse when it was the actual plot of I Know Who Killed Me. I think this might be just a tongue-in-cheek reference that producer Lindsay Lohan decided to add, harkening back to when she blamed hackers for writing threatening comments on the celebrity Big Brother Instagram page the same night her mom got kicked off. Maybe stick to like Mean Girls references, Lindsay. We don't need to remember those things that made it hard for past movies to ensure you. Lindsay's famous rich dad, Beauregard Belmont, is the ski-loving kind of like captain of industry of this whole thing. Sierra, I'm gonna do that a lot, doesn't want to tell him that she doesn't really want this job that she's getting handed to her. She wants to make it on her own, and her boyfriend, Tad, is trying to be like, yeah, you should go on your own and you can be an influencer with me. We see Beauregard Belmont on the mountain. He gets approached by Jake. That's the love interest of the movie, played by Cord Overstreet, who we've seen previously on Clip Breakdown in another low-budget flop of a movie called The Swing of Things. After a time-filling sequence of skiing down a mountain, where you realize that the biggest difference with these Netflix Christmas movies is that they can save time and budget with some CGI, as opposed to the older Hallmark movies where it was like, we will just have unexciting plot lines, how about? So there is some action, but it's also that Jake can ask Beauregard if he'll invest in his North Star Lodge, a smaller and competing ski lodge, with the logic being like, oh, people learn to ski on smaller mountains like mine, so then they can graduate up to big fancy super resorts like yours. It's like, or the super resort could just offer beginners classes and everyone's happy except for the little guy. But so yeah, Beauregard turns him down and he's like, enjoy your day at the resort though, and gives him a cup of hot cocoa, which when Lindsay comes down to finally meet her boyfriend Tad, there is this classic conundrum in a holiday film.
Excuse me.
Now I'm in the lounge by the fireplace.
Oh, hey.
I'm wearing Balenciaga. Oh my God!
She's gonna get all mad about this when she should be saying thank you. That brown liquid scalding the top of her breast is currently the only thing tying the hat in with the rest of her outfit. Also, we've seen many spilled cocoa meet cutes in Christmas movies past. At this point, we need to see the girl get soaked, scorched, and hospitalized for it to be a memorable movie moment. Not this Monica Lewinsky looking whipped cream placement. I get more messy than that every time I order a caramel brulee latte. and lap the foam off the top like a dog. So the stuck-up boyfriend and Lindsay shoo this guy away. They're like, you local yokel, get out of here. And that's when they have the dinner, Tad and Sierra, with Sierra's dad to be like, this is the man I'm dating. She's like, Tad's an influencer. And then dad is like, oh, so basically a salesman. It's like, what do you do besides selling tickets to your mountain? Like, aren't you also? These movies love to like talk about influencers, which I think is a very fun way to, to take advantage of this new type of job that exists in the market, but it's gonna feel dated very soon. I mean, if it doesn't already. Sierra cannot work up the nerve to tell her dad the truth about not wanting this job.
Would Mademoiselle care for the artisanal house-smoked bacon on her wedge salad?
No, thank you. I don't do bacon.
Flavor.
Look, Sierra, no reason to feel guilty. Everyone is using family connections to get ahead. You're being handed a cushy corporate job by your father who owns the hotel, just like your server got moved up to the brunch shift because his dad is the mayor of Munchkinland. As much as I forget often every character's name in this movie because they are so forgettable, there is one who is impossible to forget, mainly because it's the most used word in the movie. Everybody meet the boyfriend, Tad, and his name, Tad.
Be with Tad. Tad's an influencer. Tad. It's Tad, Daddy.
Well, legally, it's Theodore Albert Devereaux, but the initials worked better as his display name on Grindr before he had to deactivate his account because I convinced him to shut that part of his personality down. I'm not even joking. We find out later in the movie that Tad is, in fact, the Netflix version of queer representation in this movie, although they keep it pretty ambiguous until the very last scene. Until then, he's simply the most self-centered, uppity, and annoying character in the entire cast. See that? It's inclusivity that hurts like a stereotype. Merry Christmas, you gay homo f***ers. Tad is instantly too familiar with Beauregard, being like, Beau, you know how it is. I fell in love with her from the moment I saw her. So they're trying to be all like the relationship is building, but you can tell that Sierra's maybe not so into it. Back at home, Jake is talking to his mother-in-law as well as his little daughter named something and Avi. I don't remember the mom's name. Her name is Alejandra, and the actress's real name in real life was Alejandra. Okay. And the little girl, her name is Avi. But Jake, these names, is sad because he did not get, this was the last resort he was pitching his idea of getting an investor into because his North Star Lounge Lodge is not doing well this season.
If the rest of the season's this way, I don't
We
think.
just need a little patience.
What we need is a miracle.
Haven't you heard, Dad? Christmas is the time for miracles.
Aw, that's great, sweetheart. Except Grandma's bone surgery isn't until January, so can New Year's be a time for miracles also? Since you're just making up expressions that nobody f***ing says, And you better stop forcing that smile so hard because it's the holidays, and our insurance obviously doesn't cover urgent care visits. It's still the first, 10 minutes of the movie, and Avi is going to wear herself out trying to always look happier than some kid who just made a friend in an Oreos commercial. Sierra meets with her dad before he goes off on a weekend trip to return on Christmas Day. It's like, you flew me out here to spend Christmas with you and then you're going away for the whole time? Okay. But she can't tell him the truth. Instead, they get distracted talking about the mother she used to have. Dead mom trope.
Surprised you remember. You're only 5 when she...
I remember her perfume and her laugh. This hotel reminds me so much of her.
A little too much, since you were only 5 years old when she... The screenwriters are very careful to avoid using the word death throughout the entire movie, so it just silently haunts every character and pervades the entire plot, because that's less sad, I guess. And Sierra must have been baby Mozart, because her dad was surprised that she remembered a snow globe from age 5. And then she came out with all these dead mom details. She's like, I remember the little things like her perfume or her high school mascot, the number to her landline. My earliest and most vague memory is also from when I was 5, and it's just like the foggy mental image of a heating vent, possibly from sitting at the wake of my dead great-grandmother. So as you can see, that's kinda not enough to go on to really miss her too badly. But I guess everyone's different, and Sierra remembers enough from that age to give a full-on bridesmaid speech. She said, I remember when she was changing my diaper once and recited the following poem from Charles Dickens. Oh, a dainty plant is the ivy green that creepeth o'er the ruins old? Like, mama, that just proves you needed therapy since way before puberty. I think that they should have made it so that the mom died a little bit later in Sierra's life, because yes, you would probably be sad, I'm assuming, if your mother died at age 5, but in a more like, I don't know what could have been, or like, I feel like I'm losing memories of her and I wish I could spark the memory of her. But Sierra's problem is that she remembers too much about her. Either way, Tad and her are going off on a photo shoot. He found a great off-trail forest from one of his influencers that he follows, and they're gonna take pictures.
I love this song. What a bright time, it's a bright time.
See, this is where Lindsay put on her fluffy pink producer hat and asked the studio if they could add in this subtle reference to Mean Girls. We love to see it. And by we, I mean myself and all of the nobody who found this movie worth watching. Hi friends, make sure you grab some peanut brittle. We're supposed to get the idea from the North Star Lodge that things are a little cramped, a little dated, and perhaps unkept, like this sleigh that is breaking down.
Is this thing safe?
My friend, this fine piece of craftsmanship has served the North Star for generations.
Where's your sense of adventure?
I don't know, Michaela, where's your sense of not sounding like Miss Piggy? We hear this actress using her real voice later in the movie, which is how I know that was just an overzealous voice double who re-recorded her lines. She said, gerber, 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 gerber. What in the Pidgeotto Pokemon? You better bring that one to Professor Oak, mama. Up at the top of the mountain, after snowmobiling way off anywhere where they could ever find their way back, Tad proposes to Sierra. Although she's like, oh, the ring is a little big. But he's like, it's okay, we'll just get it resized. Meanwhile, Avi and Alejandra are at the wishing tree, which is, I guess, a thing that exists. And Avi is like, remember? Mom used to take us every year. Of course he remembers. Your mom only died 2 years ago. This is not like you remembering past decades like Sierra can do. So Avi makes her wish. Make your stupid little wish, Avi. I hate the kids in movies.
I wish.
Don't tell me. You have to keep it a secret.
Avi, did you wish for the old guy who's roasting chestnuts to offer us cocaine? Because that seems to be what's happening. Oh, no, that's just the subtle, not quite Santa Claus of the movie that was designed to please adult audiences. Sure, they might allude to the existence of Christmas magic, but only in the subplot that's told from the perspective of the child. Because children are easy to discredit and ignore. So when they see magic, no one believes it. And now that I'm an adult, I get it. It's like, I think I thought Christmas was magic as a child, but it turns out I was just materialistic and wanted new stuff. At least now I'm open and honest with myself about that. Give me new things and put them on sale. I'll use my credit card without fail. Everybody's waiting with the man and the sag. So all of a sudden, some wind blows because of this Christmas wish. Oh my gosh, I just realized Avi's wish was for some lady to fall off a mountain, because that's exactly what happens to Sierra. And because the ring is too big, she slips right out of his fingers, Tad's fingers, who also falls down the mountain. But they go in different directions. I'm not sure the physics. Wow, really tasteful. Do you know how many people die every year in skiing accidents? Lindsay Lohan is like, yeah, that's what makes my character funny and relatable. There are so many movies that try to basically retell the plot of Overboard starring Goldie Hawn, but I think modern audiences are getting too sophisticated to keep buying the head injury causes a girl with amnesia to fall in love storyline. At this point in humanity's timeline, I think we're more at like head injury causes the athlete with behavioral problems to kill their wife type of story. I didn't say it was great for Christmas, but I mean, neither is this, so. Thankfully, Jake, on his sleigh ride with those two guests, comes across the unconscious corpse of Sierra, and they take her to the hospital, where the doctor has some troubling news.
Physically, she's all right. Minor concussion, but that's not the real problem. She says she doesn't remember anything prior to the accident.
Amnesia?
or something like it.
Well, can you go ahead and pick a diagnosis, Doc? You ran all those tests on her, and what, you can't tell us if she has amnesia or amnesia's friend from college? I love this doctor being like, physically, there's no problem, just a minor concussion. But the thing is, the concussion was so minor that it injured her brain to the point where she can't remember her own name. Well, that sounds a little bit not minor, Dr. Doolittle. I know it's almost Christmas, but can you mentally clock back in and maybe try to save this brain-dead woman they found? Thanks. Of course, when they go into the room, Sierra is treating this hospital as though it's a hotel, being like, where's my caviar? And they're like, do you know what a hospital is? That's where you are. No, but the doctor is like, I think getting her back to her normal routine could help jog her memory, so why don't you take her back to your hotel, strange man who found her? But the sheriff is cool with it because he's like, he owns the North Star Lodge. He could never murder you in the night. Okay. Someone's never stayed at the Bates Motel, but okay. The joke is supposed to be like, well, she could stay here at the hospital, and the doctor is like, no, you should take her. It's like, really? Because I'm pretty sure she shouldn't even be allowed to sleep for the next 12 hours after getting a concussion, but whatever, that's the oversight they have at this hospital. So they bring Sierra back to the hotel where she gets some hand-me-down clothes, gets scared by a raccoon, and just generally seems, perturbed by the low-class establishment she's being forced to stay in because she can't remember anything about herself except that she likes to have nice things, which to me is like, you're remembering what a nice hotel is, but you don't remember that you used to like spend a lot of time in a nice hotel. Okay. Avi is like, this means my wish is coming true. More brain dead ladies, please. There's so much to skip over during the rest of the first act, and for the rest of the entire movie when it comes to Tad and his subplot. He basically ends up at the fishing cabin of an old hermit named Ralph, who takes him hiking for several days to find safety. As you can imagine, this leads to plenty of attempts at physical comedy, and even more unexpectedly homoerotic subtext. Let me just wrap all that up for you.
You're so strong. What about you? Don't you worry about me. I got big feet.
Whoa, slow down, Father Christmas. I don't need to know about your foot size just yet, but tell me about those fists. Like if you had to guesstimate in like t-shirt sizes, small, medium, or large. Honestly, these two aren't the only ones who will need big feet or snowshoes to survive the winter. If things were to keep declining with, you guessed it, climate change. Reports are coming out saying that this was our third hottest summer, and the winter ahead is gonna be tough for countries like Germany and the United Kingdom, which are currently experiencing heightened energy prices and messed up supply chain, not just from coronavirus, but also from the war in Ukraine. So they're bracing themselves for a cold one. That's why it's even more important now than ever that we raise awareness about this biggest problem that humanity's ever faced. But as my Christmas gift to you, I will leave you with some good news and hope for the future. The use of coal provides currently 30% of the world's energy. It's expected to continue to decline from there. And since the year 2010, renewable energy costs have dropped quite a bit. Solar power by more than 80%, wind by 55%. We love both out here in the desert. The more affordable these energy sources are, the more viable it makes them as an alternative to fossil fuels. The US has just enacted the Inflation Reduction Act, which is our largest commitment financially to reducing global warming ever. It's like, great, hope it's not too late. This could help reduce the US carbon emission footprint by 2/5 by the year 2030, and can lower emissions from electricity by up to 80%. Glad the global powers are getting in there. Not every politician wants to invest in these things, and I think it's smart to encourage the people in our sphere of influence to vote for those who do. That's all I'm saying. Don't get your snowshoe up my ass about it. The next morning, Sierra realizes it wasn't just a dream. I really did smash my head into the tree. Because she thinks she's doing her whole hotel routine, but it's really at this lodge with the twin bed. I'm like, you remember what you do every morning, but you don't remember your name? Okay, I give up on the memory logic, and it doesn't matter. Avi, while giving her hairdryer to Sierra, helps pick out a temporary name. They go with Sarah, which to me is like, why would they have it be Sarah Hannah and Sierra. I guess because it just sounds close enough that Sierra was like, I'll go with that one. That sounds nice. But I'm like, couldn't they have done something a little more Christmassy, like Noel? Just seems like it adds needless confusion to the character names that I'm already confused by. Just like these two guests who are always around are further confusing the issue.
Hey, how are you feeling?
Do you know me?
We met on the sleigh ride.
But you were unconscious the whole time.
Oh.
Enjoy breakfast.
Thanks, random couple who doesn't understand consciousness. You did not meet her when she was knocked out in the back of the sleigh that you were also on. Imagine how troubling it must be for Sierra, now Sarah, to realize that she was unconscious for so long. Especially since she first gained consciousness back on the day she was born, and then learned her mother's social security number and how to correctly identify her favorite eau de toilette. Random facts bubble to the surface for Sierra. She's like, oh no, I don't do bacon. And they're like, how do you remember if you do it or not? And she's like, I guess you're right. I could try it.
I like bacon.
Yeah, we see you, honey. You're really slurping on that pork, aren't you there, Sarah? Nothing tells me that this production didn't hire a food stylist as loudly as the fake crunch on that undercooked bacon. Breakfast even gets another unflattering close-up later in the movie. This is after Sierra supposedly has gotten better at cooking.
I hope you like it.
Sweetheart, don't eat that. Your father can't afford to treat any tapeworms this winter. You'll have to eat your own weight in brown rice every day just to keep from wasting away. Hotel security, along with the concierge Terry and the stylist, played by Lindsay's sister Allison Lohan, used to go by Allie. They go to check on her room. She was like, don't disturb me, so they left her alone. But now they're like, oh, she's missing. Meanwhile, Tad has started off on his journey with Ralph, whose truck is broken. So like, it's just a few days of hiking through the pass to get to help. And I'd be like, well then we'll just die out here. You go and send them back to help me. I fell. Just as Jake is complaining that they don't have enough staff to help clean all of the rooms, even though it seems like the other problem was that no one was renting the rooms. That's when Sierra's like, the doctor said I should be doing normal stuff to remember. And he's like, oh, I know how to exploit your head injury. And he makes her do chores around the hotel, which obviously leads to funny things happening, like her not being able to put a fitted sheet on a bed and splashing toilet liquid in her face. I'm just like, how do you know that this is normal for her? And it isn't. You know, she has never made a bed in her life, obviously. So I would be like, no, we don't know what's normal for me, so I'm gonna go relax. I did get a concussion recently, after all. They play it real fast and loose with Sierra's memory, as per usual. After Avi tells her about her mom who recently died, Sierra imparts her with some words of wisdom that end up being meaningless.
You know, my mom always said, the worst tangles will sort themselves out
If you just give them a little help.
Oh yeah, of course, she can't remember her name or anything about her identity, but here's an effortless flashback to her long dead mom, teaching her the basics of wig maintenance. Why did they have to say that she was 5 when her mom died? Because even with lens flare, that fake redheaded 5-year-old looks like a fake redheaded 7-year-old. Like, this girl is already reading chapter books. Reading chapter books in that Little Orphan Annie wig. Sarah is feeling really down about her memory loss, and that's when Jake is like, let's go to the Christmas market downtown and you'll see something that jogs your memory. It's like, what? Or he's hoping someone from the town recognizes her, which weirdly they don't, even though at the beginning of this movie, she said everybody knew her as the daughter of this rich hotel guy. Did she slide down the mountain to the past? No one seems to recognize her, but she sees a snow globe, just like the one her dead mom gave her that she has no business remembering.
It's beautiful.
I think you mean it's normal looking. Sir, please don't trick this woman into buying things by convincing her they're beautiful. She said that about every piece of crap from the gift shop in the hospital she should still be at. These Christmas movies are always doing that. They're like, here's a piece of store-bought garbage from the Hallmark store, and they're like, it's the most beautiful, sentimental piece of memory gold ever in my brain harvest. Like, okay. Doesn't seem like a family heirloom. It seems like it was manufactured within the last 3 months. months. But they have a tree lighting, and we see the mayor of this whole town being like, I love Christmas. He comes back later. Some of these characters are just introduced to like have a variety of people saying lines later on in a group scene. Group scene, adult films. Meanwhile, they keep trying to force all these meaningful conversations in between Sarah and Jake, although none of them really feel like enough to make two people fall in love. So that's how this movie just feels like so formulaic. Like obviously the Christmas movies are already formulaic, but this isn't even done in a way that you can get lost in it. It feels surface level and superficial. Like I don't believe either of these two in their roles. There's no chemistry, and it just all feels a little unearned.
I don't think I've ever met anyone like you before, because if I had, I would definitely remember it.
Okay, so we're pretty sure she wasn't a neurologist in her past life, because goddamn, does she seem confused about the symptoms of her head injury. How did dialogue this bad get through several layers of approval at Netflix? If there's one thing I don't remember, it's how I could never forget you. But then I remember that I don't remember, whether it's November or it's December. That's something my mom used to tell me. I remember it from when she breastfed me the first time. Like, what is going on? Sister Christmas. Next up is a montage of character development, showing that now Sierra can change the fitted sheet on a bed, and she can flip a pancake. Unlike before when she couldn't fry an egg. That's when we see her give the girl the raw bacon. And she's like, oh. Also, she's good at decorating gingerbread houses. They have fun baking cookies. Oh, and Jake is like, why don't you learn how to ski? I would be like, I'm pretty sure I just narrowly survived a skiing accident, so maybe ease off the gas. And they do get in an accident, but a funny, friendly one, not a girl with a head injury just got a repeat head injury type of way. And inside, Sarah is making connections with Jake's mother-in-law, who misses her daughter who died just 2 years ago. My secret theory, they don't mention how the mom dies, which is my #1 annoying thing, because like, if I find out that you're a widow, the first thing I want to know is how your wife died. That's the rules. I have a secret theory that it's because of COVID. She died of COVID. Rest in peace, dead mom. And the living grandma is sad about it.
Probably shouldn't have started looking through this in the first place.
What is it?
I call it our memory book.
All right, well, that's not super unique from what the rest of the world would call it, but go off, I guess. The family of Jake's late wife seems to be vaguely Latin or Hispanic, but not from a specific country. So the grandma is always saying things like, where we come from, these are called pancakes. We do that here too, sweetheart. Why not make it specific and make Avi's multicultural identity part of the story? You know, she could be like, I wish that I had more of the traditions from mom's side that I didn't get to learn growing up. And then Sierra is like, oh, we can do, I don't know, we can do something traditional. And then that way I'm like respecting your dead mom while also replacing her. But no, it's just this.
Oh, your daughter. She's really beautiful.
Thank you. You are beautiful too.
Did I say that I wasn't, Grandma? God, I wasn't fishing for compliments. I was trying to be nice to your dead daughter. Obviously, I'm prettier than she currently is. She's probably a decomposed skeleton by now, buried in the frozen earth. Did you ever think about that? Your nasty, decomposed skeleton of a daughter? Merry Christmas. That's the dialogue I would have written for this movie. But my version would have been more realistic all around, which is why the skiing accident is causing sudden aggression. The movie has too many of these things that I like to call enchanted holiday objects. The snow globe from Sierra's memory, the memory book of Alejandra's, and now this angel tree topper that Jake has been too sad to put up because he bought it right before his wife got sick. That's the other COVID clue that I picked up on. Things are clearly heating up between Sierra and Jake. They even almost feel swept away by the mistletoe tradition, the tradition of kissing under the mistletoe. But, you know, they're being very proper, so they just go to bed. And that's when, in the morning, Sierra gets this magical idea to have a Christmas party / fundraising drive to help save the North Star Lodge. She pulls in the memory book that she had no right to look at and is like, I can email all of the guests who have ever been to this hotel and invite them to come, offer a donation, and relive their favorite memories from the lodge. But Jake, who we are told supports every charity and helps every underprivileged person in town, is like, are you kidding me? I don't want people in this town to think I'm some no good poor person who needs a handout. It's like, I mean, those are the kind people that you help every year. So you're saying you're better than them? Nice. And she's like, but we can keep the lodge open. And he's like, F your lodge, that's mine.
I mean, think about all the memories you've made here.
I do. And to be honest, I'd be happy to let some of them go. And what do you know about memories? I mean, you can't even remember your name.
Well, she's really close. You know that when she tries too hard to remember, a little bit of pee comes out. So it's like a delicate balance that's at play here. I love how this is the argument that causes the third act conflict. Sierra's like, wow, well, if that's how you feel, maybe I should have stayed back at that hospital that was treating my traumatic head injury. Yeah, sweetie, you maybe definitely should have. Good instinct there. Sierra runs off, but Jake catches her and is like, I'm just afraid of making new memories here because my old ones died of COVID. Sorry, I need to stop saying that. It's not funny. It's funny though. Some things that aren't funny actually end up being a little funny. If you know, you know. Jake's dead COVID wife would want me to laugh at her death. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Jake goes inside and he's clearly distraught, but his mother-in-law comes over and helps solidify his growing, burgeoning romantic feelings towards Sarah Sierra don't know her name Mo.
You've been doing everything you can to hold this family together. It's okay to let go.
You can go f that stranger with brain damage if you want. It's what our dead wife and daughter would have wanted. I mean, it's not, but she's dead, so it really doesn't matter at this point. So go for it, mija. Go for it. Now we get the third act rallying of the troops, where Jake goes to Sarah and is like, let's do your party. And they hand out flyers and they're decorating and we're having a Christmas montage for the 4th time in this movie. Meanwhile, good old Tad and Ralph are still Brokeback Mountaining their way through the forest.
Yep, dinner's ready. Time for some tasty beans.
You don't tell me if the beans are tasty, Ralph. That's my job. You just have to diarrhea them out into my bowl. Thank you very much. The sound effects of those beans sent me straight to Hades. That's the Greek underworld where I get by the gods, the ancient gods. That's not Christmas-like. That's not Christian Christmas-like. Sierra's dad gets back to the hotel and they're like, so here's the thing. Your daughter's been missing out in the wilderness for 4 days. We're just now telling you. And he's like, let's call the police since you didn't. Because the sheriff starts wrapping this up real quick. He goes to Ralph's house where he finds that 2 of them had been split up and gone off hiking through the pass. Everyone knows old Ralph is a poacher on this land. He's, I guess, fishing there illegally. Off screen, we find Ralph and Tad, and they're brought to the station where Tad is talking Ralph out of trouble for his poaching, while also being found by Beauregard to go reunite with, oh, the sheriff is like, oh, I know where your daughter is. Come with me. And it's like, see how the sheriff was clued in because he's been at all the events? We should have called the police. We should have called the police, and it's a miracle nobody's dead.
Thank you, Tad. Let's keep in touch, buddy.
Not in any meaningful way that the audience will see. It feels really sudden that they would drop Ralph out of the story when it's been Tad's entire storyline. Like, I was sure they would bring him back at the end for comedic button, and even though they kind of built in the perfect opportunity to, they just used this character interchangeably with Terry, the concierge. Oy. If I could rewrite every movie on planet Earth, I would ask to get paid a union rate. Fix my sports bra. So it's the night of the party. It's on Christmas Eve, and it was a very short notice that they decided to have it. So they're not holding out much hope, but still Sierra and Jake test out that dance floor and fall in love all over again for the all over again time. And then 1 or 2 people starts to trickle in and they're like, we're trapped behind some snowplow, but we're all here now. And the whole town rushes in. Yay. People are eating vegetables. People are dancing to music records. It's a full-on Yuletide monster mash. But now that the Save the North Star Lodge party is in full swing, Sierra convinces a very nervous Jake to get up in front of the crowd and make his plea for donations.
I just want to say, if you see a gingerbread house, please don't take a bite. It is purely decorative. Talking to you, Kenny. No, I kid.
Kenny, what is that reaction? I'm not so sure Jake was flirting with you just now. I think he was literally asking you to not get too drunk and eat the decorations again. But I've been Kenny before. People have had that conversation with me where they're like, please don't be too messy. And I totally misread it like, okay, why don't we go drink 2 40s together and not be messy together? What do you think, cutie? They're like, no, go home. You're uninvited. Suddenly, all of the people step forward and they're like, when we couldn't afford a honeymoon, you gave us the honeymoon suite with champagne for free. You helped pull me out of a snowplow ditch. You gave my son ski lessons for free type of deal. So everyone's giving checks over to the North Star Lodge being like, this is just late payment for that good deed you did. It's very much, let 3 cheers for George Bailey, the richest man in town. And everyone's like, that's a happy Christmas holiday to Christmas. And that's when Jake is like, I wanted to thank the person who pushed me outside of myself and taught me how to be myself again, Miss. And that's when Tad breaks in and is like, Sierra. And they're like, wait, you're Sierra? And Jake's like, you're the daughter of the owner of the lodge who I asked for a favor. I had no idea. This, I think, would have been a better third act conflict if Jake was somehow accused of knowing that this was Sierra Belmont and everyone was like, so you were using this situation to try and get closer so that you could get money out of her dad. And he had to be like, no, I swear I had no idea. That would be a more fun, urgent conflict. And it puts Jake's like good guy persona at risk when that's not who he is. But instead they're just like, oh, the dad is talking like a crazy person. He's like, I don't know what transpired here, but it's clear you took very good care of my daughter. I think the hospital would have done better, I would argue, but sure, that's what transpired. And that's basically it for Sierra and the North Star Lodge. She said, okay, bye, f***ers.
I don't want you to go.
I'm so sorry, sweetie. But I have to go home.
Come on, honey.
I don't even know what to say.
She's like, I think the word is adios? I don't know. Alejandra, you tell me. Anyway, have fun being really, really poor, all of you. Good luck with your dead moms and wives and daughters. And the family is left heartbroken that this beautiful light came into their life in the form of Sarah and now is leaving as a spoiled rich girl named Sierra. But don't worry, because we get a powerful musical montage to really sell the gravity of this situation.
You saved me from myself. Where would I be without you?
I still think this song would have worked better for the Tad and Ralph C storyline. Tell me this doesn't elicit a more emotional response.
Where would I be without you?
Time for some tasty beans.
I always get like this during the holidays. When's it gonna be time for my tasty beans? No, don't go soft, Nicholas. You gotta keep that nerve sharp for when the little girl inevitably says something stupid again. Never forget the real enemy, child actors. The next morning, nepotism baby Sarah is telling her nepotism baby sister, who plays the stylist Bianca, that she's gonna go with something simple. She's also making her own bed, cooking her own breakfast. It seems like she's showing the cooks of the kitchen how to do pancakes. They're like, sweetheart, we know how to cook. You're the problem. But anyway, Tad is all like confused at her newfound simple, barefoot Contessa personality when they're supposed to get on TV and do a press conference to announce their marriage. But Sierra uses it as the perfect opportunity to plug the North Star Lodge by being like, the North Star Lodge took great care of me while I was amnesiac, which is magically over now that she re-met the people. She's like, I highly recommend it. And the family is at home watching, kind of disappointed about the engagement, but it's been announced. They're getting married and Sierra's getting ready to go off for the weekend. And that's when Avi convinces her dad, she's like, I didn't use my Christmas wish on me. I used it to give you someone new to love. Like, oh, that's a really selfless thing to do. Had nothing to do with missing your mom and wanting someone else to be your mom. I don't buy it. Suspicious, fishy. But that gives Jake the encouragement he needs to be like, I'm gonna go tell her how I feel. Just one problem. The alley is closed for some reason. Luckily, the 62nd, that's how many teeth they have. The 100 millionth enchanted object makes its appearance in this movie. It's like the replacement sleigh that they were looking at the Christmas market, which was way beyond their price point. But Santa, stand-in Santa was like, I hear that and I magically deliver it to you on Christmas morning. So Avi and Jake are able to ride this magically appearing sleigh off while Alejandra's answering phones, and whoa, talk about an influencer. The phones are lighting up and they're fully booked for the rest of the holiday season thanks to Sierra making that plug. They're like, yes, this is where Sierra stayed. You want the room where she almost bled out through her ears that night? Perfect. Back at the lodge, the fancy lodge, Sierra is finally getting the courage to take control of her life, and she tells Tad, I'm sorry, I thought I was ready to marry you, but I'm not, and you'll be fine by New Year's. I know you, Tad.
Do you mind if I post about this on my page? My followers will love it. Nothing like a breakup to really add to your numbers.
Actually, it looks like your numbers sort of peaked during those 4 days you were a missing person. Our statistics indicate that in order to keep that momentum going, you should have been rescued 1 day earlier or have stayed gone forever. That's still an option? Can you do that? So our former not so right for us love interest has been let down, but as always with these movies, we quickly see that they're gonna bounce back and probably weren't in this relationship for the right reasons anyway. And it also seems like Tad wasn't truly following his heart, or at least his heart swings both ways.
You, Terry?
Yep.
What are you doing for New Year's?
Looks like he'll be starring in the next holiday movie from Netflix called Riding Dick in Late December. You know, it's gonna start with that classic Christmas song that goes, very Merry Christmas to the dick in your ass. I'm not joking, that is the real plot twist of this movie, that Tad and Terry get together. Because finally, Jake arrives at the lodge in the nick of time to stop the Hummer that's taking, he thinks, Sierra and Tad away. So he like pours his heart out to the car window, and then the window comes down and we get this.
Well, that's very flattering, but I have other plans. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas.
Oh, real nice, Tad. And I guess Ralph was just some old wilderness dweller who you shared a sleeping bag with? Like this was all just some poorly supervised Boy Scout camp? Ugh, a happy Christmas indeed. A very happy Christmas to the dick in your ass. That's my new favorite song. I can't help it. So after a moment of searching, Jake finds Sierra and he's like, I thought you were leaving. She's like, nope, I am staying here. And also, I told my dad he should talk you into accepting some investments for the North Star Lodge since I'm the new president of Atmosphere. Oh no, he's like, oh, then maybe you should come work at the lodge for me too. And she's like, I could probably be convinced over the holidays if we could spend them together. And it's like, yep. You two better kiss, or at least use CGI to make it look like you kissed. He did it! Jake got the girl! We're still not sure which girl, because that is just a very obvious stand-in for Lindsay Lohan. She was probably like, I want this performance to feel exactly like Lindsay's. So does anyone have a pack of menthol cigarettes I can smoke real quick? And then we get friendly festive bloopers to round out the whole amnesia incident. What do you guys think of Falling for Christmas? Is it the new Overboard starring Goldie Hawn, now with less making sense about head injuries? Let me know in the comments below, along with your suggestions for other holiday movies on Netflix, Hallmark, or any of those networks that you think I should cover in a future episode of Clip Breakdown. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more Christmas clip breakdowns before the new year starts, but most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications so you'll always be the first to know when I'm sliding into your oak tree wilderness farm with my toboggan of magical memories. Also, I've got merch like new enamel pins and a Patreon where we get to watch new movies and bonus episodes together. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you for unlocking memories from my in utero experience with me today. I will see you next time.